Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing great. In today's video, we are going to implement a cart in our application, and you can say the cart or a basket using which a user is going to add a specific item, and then he will be able to check out. And we will be reusing our previously created pattern, that was I specification pattern, which we have created in the previous video. So without further ado, let's move forward. Okay, let's try to run the application first. Get a quick glance of where we have left. So, okay, so we are able to log in. And once we are able to log in, we can go and try adding a specific item. But you can see there is no cart being available and there is no like add to cart function available. So that's what we are going to achieve today. So let's just move to the code. We are going to add a card controller first. So let me just add a controller first. Just give me a minute. So within the controller folder, let's just add the card controller. So I'm going to name this card. Let me just add the constructor first. So within our controller, we are going to inject a specific basket service, which we are going to develop or create in a while. So let's just bear with me. So this is going to be a basket service. Let me just add this sketch service. A second thing that we are going to do, not the second thing, but just one thing. Let's just add this basket service. And we are going to add a read-only variable. So let's just generate a read-only field. And we have this basket. So let's just first create this basket. So let me just add an interface. I have already created an interfaces folder. You can create the interfaces folder, and then you can add an interface named. Let me just add the interface first. New item. This is going to be IBasketService. So with this being created, so let me just include the reference. So we have this with us, and let's just define what sort of method definition we are going to use inside of our interface. So let's just add the interface. Okay, within our interface, we need to create a basket, and then we can get or retrieve the basket, and then we should be able to add items to the basket as well, and we can check out the basket. So let's just start adding. So we need to, and first we are going to create a get basket. Let me just add the get basket. This is going to be like basically using an integer ID. We are going to get a basket, and what we are going to provide, we are going to provide a basket ID. As we need to get a specific basket, so we'll be returning back a basket view model, which we are going to develop in a while. So this is going to be a basket view model, and most of our methods are going to be async. So let's just use the task. So I'll be creating this in a while. Or let me just do one thing, just generate this file in a new file and just move it to the view model so we do not get complaint from the compiler or IntelliSense that there is an issue. So we have our basket first available, and if the basket itself is not being created, so we need to have a create basket. And the create basket doesn't take anything because we already are creating a new basket, and same goes like this is going to return us this. With this being done, what else we can do? For the same thing, we can create a basket, but for a specific user. So let's create a basket for a user. And this time we are going to provide a user ID. So this with these three methods being created, let's just add one more. And this time we are going to do a add item to basket. So this time we are not going to return back anything. So it's just an async method, but it's going to like add item to the basket. And what we need to provide it, we need to provide it the basket ID itself, and we need to provide the catalog item ID. And what else? We need to provide a price, and we need to provide a quantity. So with this being done, the last method definition that is remaining is of checkout. So let's just add a checkout to, and checkout is again against a specific basket ID. So this is basically our definition for this IBasketService. So we'll be implementing this in a while, but let's just try focusing on our controller first. So we have within our controller, we have created a public constructor, and as well as a default index method is there. So let's just try to populate this index method. What we are going to do here within this, we are going to use or retrieve a basket model, which we are going to pass back to our main index page. So let's just try to get a basket model. And for that, we are going to use a private method because we'll be requiring basket in all our functions. So let's just create a specific function, GetBasketFromSessionAsync, because we'll be keeping our basket within the session. So for the time being, let me just generate this so we can skip. Okay, so this is just a basket from session. We'll be further implementing it once we'll be moving to this function. So with this being done, let's just try to return the view. What is it is going to return? It's going to return the basket model. So basket model is going to get written. And one more thing which we might need to do is okay. So for the time being, let's just add one attribute because this is going to be an HTTP GET call. So with this being done, let's just add an HTTP post method. What we are trying to achieve over here, we need to add to cart. So let's, because when the user is going to click that add to cart button, then the data is going to be posted. So let's just use or try to write that method. So it's going to be async method as we are already using, and again the task action result, and the name of the method is going to be add to cart. And over here a catalog item view model is being posted to this, because what is actually happening when someone is trying to add the item to cart, so what is actually happening, they are like sending some information along with the catalog item to our this action. So this is going to have a product details. You can think of this as a product details being posted to this. So with this being done, let's just try to see. Okay, so let me just create this view model as well. Just generate this. Let me just catalog item view model, and I'm going to move with this to over here as well. Before further proceeding, let's just populate these view models. So when we'll be working inside our controller, we have a clear understanding of what view models are going to return. So let's just move to the basket view model first. So this is empty. Within our basket, what we are going to have, a primary ID is going to be there. And then we are going to have a list of items, because basket itself, you can think of basket as in a real world example. Within a basket you can have multiple items. So similar is the case with our basket. It could have multiple items being added. So let's just have a list of basket items, and this is going to have a basket items view model. And what we are going to name it, we are going to name this items, and we are going to like initialize it using this. Let me just do this. Okay, and with word wrap being enabled, so I created this. Seems like something is being missed. Okay, yeah. Let me just create this too, because we are going to populate this as well. So you can see I'm generating this like it's a basket view model, and this is going to be a basket item view model. And let's just move further. ID is being there and list is being there. So we need to have a buyer ID as well. So let's just have the buyer ID with us. And with this buyer ID being available, one more thing we need to do, because at this point of time, we can also calculate that total against that basket, because all the items are available to us in the items. So let's just add a total method over here. And what we are, how we are going to calculate it, let me just do this way. Okay. So with this total, what we are going to do, just a simple math calculation, math.round. And what we are trying to do, we are going to use the items, and the items list do provide sort of sum function. So you can use that sum. And what we are going to pass over here, we are going to pass the item, and what the item is going to do. So you can think of like there could be multiple items. Like if I'm adding two items within the basket, so you can think of that I might have bought two mangoes or one banana. So the quantity and price both should be there. So when we are trying to sum it up, so you can think of like unit price. I think I need to do one more thing first before proceeding with this. Let me just populate this as well, because this will help us think of what we are trying to achieve in terms of our this total. So let's just populate this first, and then we'll be going back again. Over here we do have a ID, and then we are going to have a catalog item ID. So this is going to be catalog item, then the actual product name is going to be there. So let's just have the product name with us. And what else we are going to do? We are going to use the unit price. So let's just use the decimal unit price. And with the unit price, we are also keeping track of the old unit price. So let's just use the old unit price too. And what else we are going to do? We are going to use the quantity. So let's just use the quantity. And what else? We need a picture URI for our like the product. So let's just have that product URI with us. Product URL or URI both could have been used. So I'm just keeping URL for now. We'll change it later if need be. So with this being done, we have our like item view model being available. This will help us like identify the item right away using the intelligence. You'll be quickly looking over here. Like when we were previously typing dot there weren't any property, because right now we have added. So what we are trying to do, we are going to multiply the unit price with quantity. So what it's going to do, it's going to multiply the unit price with the quantity, and it's going to sum it all. So with this being done, we are going to round it off to like two, up to the two fractions. So two decimal places, and what else? I think we have achieved that. Hopefully you are able to follow along with me. If there is any question, feel free to leave it within the comments, or if there is any confusion, so make sure you let me know. So with this being done, let's just actually move to the main implementation that we were doing inside the controller. So in our controller, we were trying to do add to cart. So we have our catalog item model as well. I think I should have populated this catalog item model as well, because catalog is going to create or cause some problem. So let's just navigate to catalog view model as well. Okay, so catalog view model, the way it is being different from the other basket view model, because we are coming from catalogs screen onto this card screen. So a sort of you can say a data is being posted using this view model. So let's just try to populate what we are going to get received. One is the ID. Second thing is going to be the name, and the third is the picture URI. So let's just receive a picture URI of the actual picture that needs to be displayed. So, and I think one more thing we are requiring is the price. So we are going to put this way. Let me just remove this. It's going to be decimal, and over here it's going to be price. So this will help us like implementing the controller. So back to our controller. Hopefully you are able to follow along with me. There is like so much back and forth. The reason is that there are so many connected pieces. And if we do not create one piece, so it is going to make us IntelliSense won't be providing any much detail. So that's the reason I'm switching between different view models and controllers. Hopefully you're not getting confused. But in case if you feel any issue, do let me know. So I'll try my best to keep you posted, and any answers that needs to be given against your queries, I'll surely post it in the comments. So in our controller, we were focusing on the add to cart. Now, when we are going to use the IntelliSense, you might get to know that what I'm trying to do over here, when I'm going to ask for the ID, so you can see the IDs are already available, which we have just added. So let's just check if the product ID is being there. So if it's going to be null, so it means we need to redirect back, because there is nothing available to us to add to the cart. So we are going to use the redirect action, and we are going to redirect it back to the catalog controller. So this is going to be the action, and then this is going to be the controller. So with this being done, and if the item do exist, so then we are going to perform something else. And what we are going to do, we are trying to create a basket. And as I already mentioned, that we do have a function which we are going to implement later. So what we are trying to achieve, we are trying to get the basket, and then using the service that we have created. Let me just try to use the basket service. It's not available. Seems like something big. Okay, it works. It is supposed to be service, not the server. So rename it service. Okay. So using the basket service, what we are going to do, we are going to add items to the basket. So what we are doing in the add cart, first we try to get hold of if the product details do exist. If it does, then we are going to get a basket. And once we have the basket, where we are trying to add item to the that respective basket using the information that we have got from basket. So let's just use .basket ID. Then we are going to use the product detail dot ID, and then we have a product detail dot price. So, and we are adding just one item, so we'll be keeping the quantity to 1. So with this being done, we are going to redirect back to the, let's just redirect to the let's just use redirect to action. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to redirect it to the main index of the current controller. So we aren't specifying the card controller, but using this action inside any other action of a same controller is going to redirect to that respective action. If we need to be very explicit, we can use the controller name here, but I'm leaving it just we get to know some other ways of doing things. So with this being done, let's just move forward and try to implement the other methods. I think one thing is index, add to cart. We need to implement a checkout method as well. So let me just add the checkout method too. This is again going to be a post call, and let's just add the public async, going to be task, action result, and this time it's going to be checkout. So what we are trying to achieve inside the checkout is like we are going to retrieve the basket, because retrieving the basket is going to be the first thing for all the methods. Once we have the basket with us, what we are trying to do, then we are going to use the basket service, and in that basket service we have already defined a checkout ID, and sorry, the checkout method, and the basket ID is then being posted to that to check out for that respective basket. And then what we are going to do, we are going to return to the checkout view. So with this being done, now we are left with one thing, and which is actually the main method implementation which needs to be implemented. So let's just try to modify this. What we are going to return back to our methods is going to be a basket view, which we have already developed. So we have developed the we have created the basket view model, and let's just try to formalize it and use the best basket ID. And what we are trying to get, we are trying to get our basket ID from the HTTP context.session. We are keeping this basket ID within the session. So if there is a specific string being available, so we can have that. And let's just use this string. Let me just create a private variable, and I'm going to name it basket service key or session key. It's going to be basket session. So let me just create this. Okay, just give me a minute. So let me just try to go to this field. Okay, we do require a constant rather than read only. We need a constant string which we are going to set here right away. So let's just name this a specific session key, and we are going to call this basket ID. So we have our basket ID available with us, and let's just go to this basket ID key, and based on this we have retrieved the actual basket. So we have the basket with us, basket ID being available. Let's just try to get the basket view model. So within the basket view model, what we are trying to do, we are going to create a new basket model. So if basket ID is null, what we are going to do, we are going to create a new, or otherwise we are going to modify the item in the same basket. So let's just try to, if the basket is null, so what we are going to do, we are going to use the service again, and this time we are going to use the CreateBasketForUser because we are doing it for a respective user. So let's just have the session set username, let me just get the username. It's going to be user.identity.name. So with this being done, so we have the basket available to us, and then what we are going to do, we are going to use the HTTP context.session, and this time we are going to set the key because previously we are trying to get, but if this doesn't exist, so we are going to set create the basket, and then we are going to set the key, and again in the key we are going to use the same basket key, and the basket ID is going to be provided. So basket.id, the toString is going to be provided to this. Seems like something is being missed. So basket ID toString. Okay, sorry, I wasn't using the proper method closure sign. What issue we are facing may not be null here. So let's just use this. Okay, so it seems fine now. Let me just reduce the size so we can quickly see everything in front of us. Okay, so we have the basket with to us, and let's just create a else. So let's just create a else, and if the basket already exists, what we are trying to do, we are trying to get the basket using the, again, the basket service. We are going to use the basket service, and within that, what we are going to do, we are going to get the basket, and over here what we are trying to pass, we are trying to pass the basket ID. So the basket is being written, and what we are trying to do then, we are going to return the basket. So return the basket, and hopefully we have completed our controller. So let's just try to build it to see if there is any error or something or anything being missed out. So let me check. Okay, so basket view model, it says doesn't contain a definition of ID. So what does it say? Basket.id. Okay, this is supposed to be this one. This is supposed to be this one again. Let's just try to build again and see if it works. So we have our controller with us, and we have set up the interfaces. Now let's just try to have a concrete implementation of our service. So let's just go to the basket. We have the basket service, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a proper basket service. Let me just add a class. I'm going to name it basket service. So we have the basket service with us, and let's just see. Okay, and what we are going to do, we are going to implement the basket service interface. Let me just quickly try to implement. So all the method definitions are here now with us, and again on a similar lines, we are going to create a public basket service constructor. Within this constructor, we are going to inject the repository. So the repository which we'll be requiring, one is as you might know, that is going to be basket. So these are certain entities which we are going to create, and the let me just create it first, and then we'll be recreating those entities. So this is going to be basket repository, and one more repository will be requiring, that is of catalog. So this is going to be a catalog item repository. So we are going to call this item repository. So let's just use this item repository. With this being done, let's just do one thing. Let me just create a generate a new file. This is service. We are going to move it to another project. So let me just move it to the entities. You will be quickly. Let me just move it. So basket service, no, not the basket service. This is something wrong I've done. So sorry for that. Let me just skip that. I should not have moved the service. Some issues getting created. So just wait with me. Let me just open this up. Basket service is still there. So basically a copy is being created. So let me just remove it. And we were like supposed to move the basket. And where is basket? Let's just see. Okay. So this class we were supposed to move to the entities. So let's just move it to the entity. We'll be further refining this entity. But for the time being, think of this like as a basket and a basket repository. Why it's highlighting this. Okay, let me just try to sync up the namespaces first. It might be coming from those. Let's just try to clean up. Let's just try to rebuild. I should have like created the file rather than just using this. Okay, so one thing is that repository where we cannot use the type dictionary. Okay, so one thing you might recall that it should be like it should be inheriting from the base entity. So if it's not inheriting from a base entity, we can't use it with the repository. So you can see this issue have been resolved. So what else we are going to do? We are going to create on a similar lines which we used to do earlier. So let's just create a read-only variables. Let's just try to write the repository. That's going to be repository. And let's just add this item read-only. So with this being done, we have our constructor ready. So let's just try to create the GetBasket first. So I'm just trying to move this up. Let's just move this up. And we will try to get the basket first. Let me just remove this. Inside our GetBasket, we are getting. We are going to develop specs as well. So let's just use the spec. If you can recall from the iSpecification pattern that we have created a catalog spec. So on a somewhat similar line, we are going to create this. So basket with items specification is going to be created. And what we are going to pass, we are going to pass the basket ID. So let me just create this specification rather than just creating from here. Let me just do this way. Within this specification folder, let me just add a new item and I'm going to name it specification. And you might recall that what we have done, we have inherited or not inherited, we have implemented the specification. So with this on similar lines, let me just go and I'm going to use like specification, and what I'm going to provide to this is going to be basket. So this is going to be of type basket. On this one, we do have a basket entity, don't know why it's not picking up. Okay, so basket being there, and what we need to do, we need to just implement the interface. So I'm just keeping this as is for now. Just remove clean. Let me just clean up the namespaces. Let's just move back. So where we were, like in the basket service, we have this created. So just let's reference it. So we have the specifications right with us. What we are going to do, we are going to provide this specification to the repository pattern. So what we are going to do, we are going to provide this basket repository, and inside this list, we are going to provide this basket spec. And I'm very hopeful that you till here, if you're watching, so you might have seen my previous videos of like repository pattern and specification pattern. So that will really help you grasp what I'm trying to achieve over here. So if you are facing any issues or if you're not grasping this, so feel free to see the or watch those videos. Okay, so moving further, let's just try to get the first item, first or default. So with this being available to us, what else we are going to do? We need to see if the basket is going to be null. So if it is going to be null, so then we are going to create it. Otherwise, we will proceed further. So let's just return, and what we are going to do, CreateBasket, the method that we have available to us. And if it's not the case, what we are going to do, we are going to pass back a view model. And this view model is going to be BasketViewModel. And let me just create the viewModel.id.basket, and the viewModel.buyerID is just going to be basket.buyerID. So one thing I need to see to, like the basket is supposed to be, it's not now here. So this should be basket.id, okay. And this should be basket.id, but this time it is going, okay, I got it. The reason we haven't properly defined our basket, so let's just first define the basket, otherwise we might again keep running into this issue. So as you might wonder that from where the ID is coming, basically ID is part of this base entity, so that's why we are able to grasp the ID, but the rest of the fields we need to create those. So let's just add the buyer ID, which is going to be this, and we need to have a list, because this basket again is like a composition of multiple items. So let's just have a list available to us, and this list again is going to be of basket items. So let's just this basket items, because we haven't created the basket item. I'm going to let me just create this as well, so this just don't keep bothering us. Let me just add a new class, and I'm going to call this basket items. So let me just rename it. Let me just do one thing, make it public, and this class is again going to be inheriting from base entity. So we'll see to it further when we'll be coming to this. but for the time being, at least we are covered with this basket items, and this is going to be items. Let's just new item list. So with this being done, what we are going to do, we are going to have a add item. So let's just add public void add item, and over here we are going to use the catalog item ID, and then we need to have a decimal with the unit price. What else we need? We need to have a quantity as well, which is going to be default to 1 if not being provided. So what we are trying to do or achieve inside this, we are going to check if there are like items, any items based on the criteria that we are going to provide. So if I goes to I.catalog, okay, so this time we need to refine this basket item list first. So let's just go and see to that. Otherwise, again, we are not going to get the intelligence things. So let's just add this basket item. I'm going to add this public decimal unit price. Then we need a quantity, public init quantity. And what else we need to create? We need to have a catalog item ID as well. So this is going to be catalog ID. With this being done, now when we are trying to do the same, so you can see IntelliSense would be helping us with the catalog item ID. And we are going to see that it is going to be equal to the catalog ID that we have received. So we are trying to figure out if the item that is like being provided, if it's matching. So we have that item available to us or not. So currently we are looking for if that item do not exist. So if that item do not exist, what we are trying to do within the items, we are going to add a new basket item, and that new basket item is going to be like something like this. And let's just use this simple. I'm trying to use IntelliSense. What? Okay, quantity itself needs to be defined. So let me just do this again. Okay, the quantity and one just thing remaining, that is going to be unit price. So let me just use the unit price, and with this being done, what's remaining? Okay, so items are already added, and then we are going to return back. If this is not the case, so what we are going to do, because if the item already exists, so what we need to do, it is supposed to be an existing item, so we need to get hold of that item. Let's just try to get hold of that item, and using first or default, and we are going to provide a somewhat similar thing. And once we have the item available to us, what we are going to do, we are going to set the quantity, because a new like item, the person or the user have tried to add the item to within the same basket, so just the quantity is going to be increased. So this is going to be done that way. So with this basket being done, so let's just go back to the spec. In the spec we have, okay, so we are now back to our basket service. Okay, so the basket service, we have the repository. So what does it showing? Okay, so leave this for now, and we have the basket, and with the ID being available to us. And what else? We were looking for buyer earlier, so now we got that. So with the buyer being there, we need to see what else need to be added inside this view model. So let's just go to the view models.items, which we have already done or added. So let's just use the basket.items.select. And over here, what we are trying to achieve, we are going to create a new, like, we are going to select those specific items. So let me just code it first, then I'll be quickly explaining this to you. So our like item model is going to be a new basket item view model. Inside that, what you are trying to achieve is let's just use the ID and then the unit price and the quantity and the catalog ID. So with this being done, let's just try to close this. So we have this with us. And what else remaining? We need to have item. Let's just use the item. This time we are going to use the item repository. So just hold on for a while. I'll explain this whole thing. So let me just complete it first. So within the item repository, what we are trying to get by ID. And this is going to be catalog item ID. So we got the item with us. Inside the item model, what we are so the item model, what we are trying to do, the picture URI. Picture URI. And what else? Rename item model. Item model. There's the semicolon here. This is going to be picture URI and what else? The product name needs to be there. Let's just return this item model. Seems like some error is popping up, so let's just try to fix it and see what I've done wrong. Okay, I got it. We need to provide a to list here as well. So this is the reason it was explaining. So the to list being provided to this. So we have our this being ready. And what else we need to do? We have the list, and let's just return the view model. So we have written the view model, and what is being left, we need to create a basket. So let's just move this basket first over here. So I'm trying to do this first. Let's just simply do return create basket for user with null. So basically we are somewhat trying to reuse, and actual implementation is going to be residing inside that user one. So let's just go to implement that user one. Let me just move it over here. And with this being done, what we are going to do, let's just remove this, use a basket, and this time we are going to create a new basket. And this basket is going to be on specific file ID. So we just created this basket, and with the basket repository, we are trying to add this basket. And then after adding this, what we are trying to do, we are trying to return a new basket view model. This is going to be very simple, so no like big deal here. And this is going to be buyer ID. So this I would prefer doing it rather than user basket dot buyer ID. And what else being remaining ID is equals to, this is going to be basket ID, basket.id. And what else is remaining? Items are remaining, so we can do a new list being created. So this is being done. What else is remaining? We just do this. Seems like some mismatch. So basket view model, yes, basket view model. Okay, sorry, this one is wrong. No, this seems right as well. So what is the issue? We are trying to return, cannot let's leave it model to basket view model. Okay, so let's just try to see. Okay, basically using await or async is required, so we have just created that as well. And with this being done, we just left with the add item to basket thing. So let's just add that. This is going to be add item to basket rather than this. Rename it to cart because we are using the name card as well. So let's just rename it to card. Let's just go back. And over here, we have each and everything available to us. And what we are going to do, we are going to use a basket again. And on a similar lines, we are going to get it by ID. This is going to be the basket ID. And what we are trying to do over here, basket.addItem. And this is going to be catalog item. Then we have the price, we have the quantity. And what else we are going to do, we are going to update the basket repository. So just update that using the basket. And what else? There is nothing, so it's being added. So what we have done over here in the add to basket, we have added the item to the basket and updated the repository as well. Some piece is missing. Okay, again, I think async is missing. So this being done, what else? It's await. So seems like await is missing, so we can use it over here. Okay. I think okay, it's not returning. Oh, this semicolon itself is an additional one. And the repository is there. Basket is being added. And this update is being done. So what else needs to be done? Okay, we'll just use the async over here. We move forward with the checkout first. We'll see to any issues later. Just trying to wrap up this because it's already a long video, and I'm trying to use basket repository again, then get my ID, and this time is going to be using the basket ID. So the basket is available to us, and what we are going to use basket repository dot delete and basket. So for the time being on the checkout, we are going to just remove the basket, nothing else, because we need to have a specific implementation ready for the checkout and any sort of payment processing. But for the time being, we are not doing that. So with this being done, we have our service being ready. Let's try to build and see if there are any things still remaining. So we'll try to figure that out. Okay, so we haven't like implement this basket specification. So let's try to implement that. In this basket specification, what we need to do, we need to first provide a constructor because uh, we are going to use or receive a basket ID. So let's just use or receive a basket ID over here, and inside that, what we are trying to do, let's just set up the basket ID. Have a basket ID being okay. Let me just use this basket ID is going to be basket ID, and let me just create this, and we need to have a public read-only property for this. So this is being created. Let's just move it a bit up over here. So we do not have. Okay, so this is being moved over here. And what else we need? We just need to add include, like add include, and the items that we are like going to receive. So let's just move add include items. So let's see if there is any issue. Basket itself is not having this for the time being. Let me just remove this and try to fix the rest of the things. And because the add include itself is not implemented, so let's just add this first. And with this, let's just add the include add and include expression. And let me see if it works or not. Seems like something is missing. What is being required? Okay, so one thing is that we are trying to use this entity, but this entity is basically missing. So let's just create that entity first, so we get all the information for that. So let's just add a buyer ID for this. And let's just add a list for this as well. And then this is going to be items. So this is the thing which we are going to refer in our code, which we are trying previously. But let me just complete this all together rather than going back and forth, because it might add confusion. So don't worry if you still feel like confused or face some issue, don't worry. So public void, and this time I'm going to add an item method, and this is going to be, let me just see one more thing. I think one thing has been missed out. We have already created this basket, but it should have been part of this. So we have created inside a wrong thing. So let me just do one thing. Let's just try to move this inside this entity. Yes, I'm going to replace it. Yes to all. Okay, so you can see I was just trying to recall that I have already created this. So with this being done, the basket service is there. Let's just try to build and see. Okay, so obviously it is not going to find that. Let me just sync up the namespaces because we just move certain things. So let's just sync up the namespace this time. Okay, so it worked. So basically we were a bit like off with our implementation because we have implemented that file in the wrong place. So that's good. We got that. Okay, so we were trying to complete this. So this seems like completed and we have this ready. So let's just try to build and see if it's working or not. Okay, something is still like remaining. This is saying that repository it's not accepting. This is packed. What see if something is being missed out. Let's to add include, and we have our basket ID with us. Expressions criteria is being there. The include is being there. So apparently it seems working fine. Let me see. Cannot convert specification interface to basket. So argument nothing one to the specification to yeah, specification basket is there. Let me see. It seems like let me just remove this basket because it is still exists. This is one issue which I've done. Then let me try to build it because it was somewhat referencing differently. Okay, so we are able to build this. So far we have achieved this. Let's just try to run it and see what happens. Let me just log in this. Uh, I'm expecting some errors, but at least we are somewhere near what we are trying to achieve. Okay, so you can see that it says like unable to resolve service. This is basically certain things needs to be added inside our program files. So let's just quickly add those. So let me just open the program files because the DI container do not have this registered. So let me just add that scope service. And okay, so let's just next to this builder dot services dot add scope this time, and this is going to be IBasket service, and this is going to be so with this being fixed. Let me just move forward. I'm expecting another error to pop up, so don't worry. So with this being done, let's try to add. So there is one more thing because we have tried to use the session, but we haven't configured it. In case if you need to use the session, you need to configure it within the program.cs file. So let's just go to the program.cs file and we need to do this. Like we need to have builder.services and we need to add the session and we are going to provide certain options to it, and the options are going to be this. So the options are going to be options dot idle timeout, and this is going to be time span dot from minutes, and we are keeping it for 30. So let's just change it to 30. Just give me a minute. 30. And what else? Let's just have a cookie. HTTP only. This is going to be true. What else? We need to add dot cookie dot is essential is going to be true. So this is being done. Now let's try to do one more thing piece I think I'm missing. So let me just, rather than moving forward, I've just in this services, I have added the session, but I haven't mentioned that we are going to use because that session. So I need to specify that app.use session should be mentioned over here. So let's see how it works. Okay, so we have our application moving further. Now what we faced basket, because you might recall that when we have created our catalog items, we have generated a specific sort of migration script for those, and when we have updated the database. But for this basket, we haven't created or generated anything. So let's just quickly go to the infrastructure and go to the EF repository. Let's just see on the repository context, CatalogDbContext. And let's just do one thing. For the time being, what I'm trying to do, I'm going to use the baskets. I need to mention this DB set basket over here. So let's just use basket and let's just call this baskets. So with this being done, I'm still thinking of facing another issue, but this time it is not going to be related to the one which we have seen earlier. So let's just try to, this time it says the invalid object because the migrations are not yet run. So rather than trying to run the migrations each and every time, I'm going to show you a quick method when you are in development, so you can quickly adopt that method rather than just struggling with the migrations. So do it that way if you are building an application. So let's just go to this code, and instead of using this SQL server, we are going to switch to an in-memory database. What it's going to do, we won't be requiring any specific migrations. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use in memory database. Okay, the reason I'm not able to get it because the specific NuGet package is not installed. So let me just try to figure that out. NuGet package manager. Okay, I think let me just stop that. Go to the NuGet package manager and within the console. So if you just try to find in memory, let me just search in memory, and you'll get to have this like entity framework. Let's just have this included inside our web project because this is where the program file is, and we are going to use 9.04 because we are using somewhat similar version all across this project. So I'm not going to update or use anything different. And now you will be able to see that now I can access this. So let's just use the same name for this database. And if we are using in-memory database, all we just need to provide is to have the database name because it's not going to use any specific relational database or something. It's always keeping track of these things in the memory. So let's just try to build it. I just want to quickly show you how things are working. Still we have some items, or I would say some pieces left. So one thing, if we switch to this in memory, so this like database migrate or these type of things are not going to work. So we have used it for our SQL database server database. So let's just remove this and try to locate if we have this somewhere else as well. So we have it in our code over here. And one thing for this in memory, let me just open this first. Okay, where does it go? Let me just move it because I can't see it. Let me just remove this. Okay. So where is the context again? Let me just comment this out. And with this being done, yeah, the reason is that because no such migration is needed. So anything related to that is not going to be enabled in our apps. One thing we have started facing is regarding this file related thing. I have previously done it when we were deploying it on the railway platform, but for some reason we are receiving it. So let me just do one thing. Uh, Let me just stop it. I think I need to do one more thing. Okay. So over here in the controller thing, what we need to specify, like if I can recall. So let me just the card controller. We need to specify the route. So let's just use the route. And what we need to provide over here, we need to provide the controller and then the action. The issue I was facing was somewhat different, but there was a reason it is occurring. So let's see if it resolves it or not. And then we'll see further. So with this being done, okay. So far our backend code is done, but certain things are being missed out, and those are views because we have created the controller, we have created the service, the specifications, each and everything. But one thing is being missed. We haven't created the views. So I'm going to create those views quickly. So let me just go back to the application, and there are two type of views which I'm going to create. So let's just open the card controller. Let's just use this and add a view. This is going to be an index view with this card. And the second controller I think I need to add is to checkout. So let me just quickly see to that. Okay, so open the check controller. Let me just close this. Let's just go to the checkout controller. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to add this view as well. This is again going to be empty, and I'm going to name this. So we do have checkout or index controller. So one thing, just to paste things up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste code for checkout and index, and then I'll be resuming it so we can quickly see how it's happening. Okay, I've copied the code. Let's just see and try to add the. Okay, let me just rebuild it. Certain things are missing, so let's just use the view model. And it's not allowing me to add for a certain reason. I'm trying to add it, but it's not allowing me. So, okay, don't know. Okay, let me try once more. For some reason, let me just close this all things, close all tabs, and then let me just open the index first. This is going to be using this, and the second thing which I'm going to do is for the checkout. For some reason it's not aligned, so let me just try to do this thing. Let me just copy this. We go to the checkout and try to use this over here. And now let me run that. So it still fails. What is being missed out? So it says like that this model is missing item. Seems like something we have already missed. So it says item. So let's just try to rename this rather than, because this is already public. So it should have a Pascal casing. So with this being done, let's just try to rerun it. There's still some more issues, so don't worry. Picture URL is supposed to be there. So this was picture URL. What else we are missing? Items are supposed to be part of this. And let's just go to this view model and picture. It was supposed to be a picture URL, so I think we need to rename it. It's going to be picture URL. So let me just try running it again. Okay, so that's great. So after long, we are able to see our application running. Let's just move to add cart, and cart is empty. So let's just go again, try to add something. For some reason, the cart is not showing up. So let me just try to log out. Let's see, this time we are facing some issue. So don't know. I need to debug it. It should have been working fine. So our cart is empty. Okay, let me just figure it out. Okay, sorry, resume. Okay. Okay, I got the error. Basically, cart is empty. The issue that we are doing is that we, instead of providing the basket ID, we are just passing the basket, which is always going to be null. So we are trying to retrieve the basket ID from the session. So let's just try to run it. Let's just try to add this, and we are facing some error. Error is related to the specification. So seems like some areas in the specification we haven't captured properly. So let's just stop this for this specification. Okay, in this specification, we have modified this add included and created this constructor parameter based constructor. But something which we have missed was setting up these criteria and this. So let's just set the criteria first. So instead of getting this, we need to set the criteria, and this is going to be, let me just rectify this. This is going to be b, which goes to b dot id, and which is going to be equivalent to this. So this is one thing. And the second thing that we need to do is to create a new. So this needs to be initialized as well. So let's just try to complete this. Let me just try to run this. Hopefully we should be able to run our app this time. So let's just try to log in. Okay, after logging in, let's just try to add. Okay, oh, that's great. So after very long, we are able to somehow see this card being added, and we can check out this as well. So if I'm going to check out, so this is going to proceed further, and this is going to remove this basket. So thank you for your shopping. So let me just log out and try running it once again. So I'm very hopeful that you might be able to see this working. So it took a bit long because there were so many applications or connected pieces, but you can see that we are able to navigate. Just leave the CSS part. We'll be covering that in the next upcoming video. So for the time being, I'm very hopeful that you have learned it. And if you feel there is something being missed, or you think anything else needs to be added or something else needs to be elaborated, so feel free to add it to the comment. And if you like the video, do share it in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe the channel. And okay, so thank you for now. We will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.